Welcome back to Cosmosis or Whatever with Celia Marie 1243. I'm your host. I am a psychic medium. I'm a spiritual mentor. I read tarot. I teach people how to meditate. I'm a meditation guide. I read past lives. I basically am helping guide you along your spiritual journey so that you can get to the most authentic, best, highest form of yourself. Today's video is inspired by TikTok. Go figure. I stitched a video on TikTok. It was a girl talking about her subconscious and how she is going to start using symbolism to speak to her subconscious because her dreams only talk to her in symbolism. And I think it was meant to kind of be like a funny video. She was scrubbing a pot and she was talking about how she wanted to release, or like, what does she say? I'm scrubbing the trauma from my brain while I'm scrubbing this pot. And I thought it was really funny, but I wanted to stitch it because I was like, no, this is actually a thing. This is helpful. And this is actually what I do. This is actually what I teach people, how to use intention, how to use symbolism in your everyday life to help you realize, help you navigate your healing journey, all kinds of things. So I was really excited to do it. And I wanted to see if people wanted to know more, because if there's anybody who knows a lot about that, it's me, somebody who I call myself a spirit guide whisperer. I'm constantly translating spirit guide messages, and I'm constantly teaching people different ways of speaking to their subconscious, answering the universe, allowing themselves to be a little bit more open to what the universe has for them through setting their own intentions and going with that. So I'm going to go over a couple of different ways that you can use symbolism in your everyday life to set your intentions right after this. Okay, this is exciting because there's a bunch of different ways that you can talk to your subconscious through symbolism. Chances are you've done it before. If you're listening to this podcast, you might have already done it before, especially if you're kind of on spiritual TikTok or anything like that. You might have either seen these things happening a lot, or you might already be doing them and not even realize. One point that I want to make is this is the basis of magic, right? Using symbolism in order to manifest or, claim the outcome that you want is the basis of magic. And I say it's the basis of magic because that's not all that's included in magic. There's also a knowledge of, universal law. There's also, knowledge of your ingredients. Those things are all important as well. But intention is a very, very important part of the work that I do as a healer and the work that you can do to heal yourself as well. So a couple different ways that you could use this. I mentioned this in the TikTok video, but in case you didn't see it, washing your hands. It's a really, really simple way to go about it. What you do, you wash your hands. You can use soap. If you want to get crazy, you can use a little bit of salt. Again, that knowledge of the ingredients. Salt is a cleanser. You can use it for all kinds of things, but if you leave a little bit of salt right next to your, fridge? It's not your fridge, your sink. If you leave a little bit of salt right next to your sink, and when you go to wash your hands, wash them with the intention that you are wiping away, cleaning off all of the energy that does not belong to you. You can literally picture it. You can feel it. If you're more of a feeler, it really is going to depend on what your psychic abilities are, what your strongest are, and what resonates the most with you. But you can release that energy that way, right? It's really cool. So what you can also do is burn things. I like to burn things. Yeah, you can burn things. A lot of my client sessions that revolve around healing, especially from like an abusive relationship, whether that be with a relationship, like a romantic relationship with a partner, or maybe, a narcissistic parent or sibling, boss, anything like that. I like to tell my clients to write a letter, get it all out on paper, tell that person how they made you feel. But if you're truly wanting to move on and heal from that and start to forgive, then you can fold that letter away from you. This is the other part, right? Remember I said with magic, you have to be intentional. So you're folding the paper away from you because it is something that you want away from you, right? If you are bringing things in, you're going to fold your petitions, your letters, things like that towards you. So you're going to fold it away from you if you are trying to release something. And as you fold it away from yourself, you are thinking, right, that you want it to be its intention. All of that energy, channel it into your actions, into your thoughts, whatever you're doing. That is how you use that symbolism to signify to the universe, to your subconscious mind, which kind of go hand in hand. They're kind of the same thing, pro tip, but you are signifying that you are ready to release that. Then what you could do is burn it with fire. So burning it with fire, it makes something that is tangible. It makes it go up. Energy is never really, it doesn't disappear. It just gets recycled. So what you can do is convert it into something else, right? You are releasing that energy and then you welcome in new energy. So you burn it with all the intentions of releasing any negative energy towards that person, releasing the situation, releasing their energy from your aura. And in the way that's kind of like helping to clear your karma. Another note that I want to make sure that you don't simply rely on these types of symbolism to just govern your life fully and like you think because you burned a piece of paper, you don't have to do anything else. That is actually a bone that I have to pick with a lot of people in the spiritual community. Honestly, a lot of my fellow tarot readers, healers, okay, I'm doing air quotes because you can't just do like a cord cutting candle and then expect the cord to be cut. The whole purpose of this is, again, to activate your subconscious mind, to let the universe know that you are in the space to do what you need to do. You are giving it intention. Intention is basically like using a funnel when you're pouring something from one container to another. That's actually a really good analogy for it because you are taking the energy and you are moving it to something else. You're transmuting it, right? But that funnel helps to make sure that everything goes into the jar. Everything might go into the jar anyway, but you need to make sure that you are funneling it in there, and that's going to guarantee it, right? Or help to guide it. It's also kind of like having a scope on a gun, right? You can kind of aim off into the distance and see like, oh, I'm going to shoot over here. And if you're a good shot, maybe you'll hit it. But if you have a scope, imagine how much higher your chances are of hitting your intended target. That's what intention does. So that's a note. Keep that in mind. But that's not going to do all of your work for you. One thing that I learned very early in my own journey is if you don't do the work, it's not going to do you any good. You can read all of the books, you can do all of the cord cuttings, you can scrub the pot as much as you want. But if you are not actually doing the work, then it kind of defeats the purpose. So again, it's not to say that scrubbing the pot per se or burning the letter won't do anything for you. That's just to say it will help loosen up the energy is what I like to say. When I do healing sessions, like for my clients, I always tell them when you get this healing energy or even in meditations, right? I do a lot of healing energy in my meditations. This energy pops up, or when I'm doing this for you, it is basically just loosening up the energy. It's not going to do it for you. It's probably going to bring up things. So by scrubbing that pot, you're saying, I want to, clean off the trauma on my brain. So chances are opportunities to clear off that trauma in real life, 3D life, in the flesh suit that we are carrying with us in this lifetime, situations will come up. That kind of goes hand in hand with timeline jumping. I talked about timeline jumping in one of the past episodes, and I was basically saying to be on your highest timeline, you have to be confronted with things that are going to have to clear you out. And it's the same thing when you're using all of these intentions, right? So be aware of that too. It's not just scrubbing a pot and then it's all automatically gone. Okay, so other things that you can do to use symbolism to set your intentions. I like to use head wraps. My guides actually, I don't want to say force, but I have to wear head wraps in order to protect my crown, to protect my energy. If you work with a lot of energy or you're a very sensitive person, if you're an empath, I highly recommend covering your head as well. Whenever I cover my head, I set the intention, whether it be with my oils or certain like waters and things that are dedicated to it. I will anoint my head wraps. You could also do this with hats, wigs, bonnets, whatever, you can set those intentions. Remember, intentions, the funnel, the scope, and you place it on your head with all of the intention that you are protected, right? You really have to feel it. You really have to believe it. You really have to be in there with it and act accordingly. The same way, like I said, with the scrubbing of the pot, right? So that's to say you don't only have to dispel things. There's a bunch of ways that you can attract things as well, such as protection. You can also attract money. You can also attract people or good fortune. There's a lot of oils and stuff out there. They don't have to be fancy. A lot of people sell fancy oils and they are special, beautiful blends of things, right? Because they have the knowledge of the intention, or they have the knowledge of the ingredients that will help bring you your intention. But if you're still learning, there's a bunch of basic things that you can do. You can purchase an intention oil from somebody that you trust, hopefully, or you can even use perfume. I made a post about that. You can use perfume. Designate one of your perfumes. Look at the ingredients in it. I have one perfume that I just bought. It has magnolia in it, which has its purposes for, attracting beauty. Whenever I use that perfume, I am saying prayers, setting intentions that I am using that to attract sweet, good things, people, energies towards me. It's all in that intention. So every time I use it, I can feel that energy instantly changing because I've set that intention with it. I also have various oils that either I've made or I've purchased. I have one, it's called a Boss Bitch oil. I got it from one of my favorite crystal shops back in Hawaii a while ago. But it has all the ingredients that are, tailored to my intention. But every time I put it on, I say my affirmations. Affirmations are a really good way to speak to your subconscious mind as well. It might not necessarily be symbolism, but you're still speaking to your subconscious mind, setting those intentions for what you want as your outcome. Okay. Another thing that you can do, meditation. I love talking about this because it is kind of my thing. It's kind of my goal in meditation to use symbolism, to use you participating in your meditation as a way to speak to your subconscious mind. A meditation that we did a while ago, we connected with Aset, or Isis, the Egyptian goddess. I had all of the participants bring a crystal to that meditation, and they held onto the crystal during the meditation, and we basically channeled all of our heart chakra blockages into that particular crystal. Whatever needed to come up, came up, and we again set the intention. I think that's like the word of the day, intention. We set the intention to put all of that energy into the crystal that they were holding. And then what we did was set it out underneath the full moon to cleanse it, to allow those things to clear out from our system, right? After the full moon is full, it starts to diminish. We, get rid of things. It's a beautiful moon for charging things, and that's not what this is about. But hopefully those gave you a couple of ideas. There's so many things you can use. Be really intentional. Like I said, that's the word of the day. Be intentional, but also make sure that you are using things that feel right to you. I could tell you all day, oh, well, use this. If it doesn't make sense to you, if you don't really resonate with it, it's not going to work as potently, right? Just like how a doctor could give you medicine and it doesn't work because you don't want it to work, or because, you don't have that intention. That's a real thing. Let me tell you about the time that I destroyed my ex's stuff with a hammer so that I could release his energy from my aura. So I was with my twin flame way back. I was going to say way back in the day, but I was in a twin flame relationship. It was very tumultuous. It was turmoil. It was not good, not healthy for anybody. We went back and forth for a couple of years. I kind of went through my spiritual awakening, like the really big one, during the end of that relationship. And I really feel like going through that helped me to heal. But I still had a bunch of his stuff, and shout out to my Auntie Kapua for giving me the idea to destroy his things that he had given me in our relationship so that I did not take that energy with me to Hawaii. So basically what I did, he had given me a laptop, he had given me an iPad, and I basically took those things, I put them in a plastic bag, and I took a hammer and destroyed them, demolished them. While I was demolishing them, I was setting the intention that all of the stress, all of the pain, all of the hurt would be transmuted. I was getting rid of it. Destroying those things that he gave to me felt very freeing. It felt like a release of energy. And that's exactly what I did. That was my intention, so that I did not carry that energy with me to my new place and my new relationship. I'm so glad that my aunt did not let me take that stuff with me. The stuff was already kind of falling apart. And I want to point out, keep in mind, this was my stuff. He gave this stuff to me willingly, but this stuff was given to me by him. So it still carried his energy. The iPad was actually his at one point, and that is a whole story time. Let me know if you guys want that story time, because the iPad, him giving me the iPad was the way that I knew that there was something up. It was confirmation from my spirit guides that something was going on with him. And that's ultimately how I broke up with him. But as a symbol, that iPad was something that it just represented the relationship, and I needed to be rid of it. The laptop was falling apart, and the iPad actually had like a huge like gash in it. It started to crack and shatter. I could not get it fixed. I could not get it replaced because the damage was so bad. I think that was all a message too. That was actually what confirmed for me that he was sending negative energy my way, which is again, a whole different story about how I confirmed all of that, how I found out that he was sending negative energy. He was sending evil eye my way through those things. I also cut up a bunch of the t-shirts that he left, a bunch of his like articles of clothing and stuff like that, all in the, I don't want to say attempt, because that shit worked. It worked. But I cut up all of those t-shirts, all of the clothes that he had. I destroyed it. I got rid of all of it. And it helped me to really conceptualize letting him and all of the negative energy that came with him go, and leaving it there in Hawaii so that I could move on and live my life and be happier. And it works. So do not destroy anybody else's property. Okay. Don't do that. But if you have something of somebody's that they gave you and you're trying to release that person, highly recommend taking a hammer to it. It's going to help. It's going to feel really good. So pay attention to your energy, where you place it. And I hope this helps. I'll catch you guys in the next one.